to African Teapot Podcast. My name is Exie and I'm your host. Journey with me through Africa's vast variety of culture, heritage, and discuss issues most African families face, both home and abroad. Make sure you add this podcast to your frequent podcast rotations, and don't forget to share and follow this podcast. Hello guys, and thank you for tuning in for another episode on African Teapot. I am excited to bring you guys this topic today called supporting our own. And before I do that, I just want to say thank you to you guys who supported last week's episodes. The turnout was really great, and I'm so happy about it because I was worried about sharing a little piece of African Teapot to you guys. So thank you so much for those who listened to what my mom had to say in her little message in her song. I was so excited, and I shared you guys' feedbacks with her, and she was so thankful for all of that. And also, if you're confused, some people still were, which I did explain. We had 2 episodes that aired last week. The actual Valentine's episode, which included our love letters from some of our listeners, and we had the bonus episode, which was the track from my mom to you guys. So there are 2. So if you haven't listened to 2 episodes from last week, then you're missing something. The main episode and the bonus episode. Now, that being said, I want us to put our thoughts and prayers to a dear brother in Ivory Coast called Bernard. Bernard is going through a surgery, and he reached out to the show, wants us to put us in our thoughts and prayers. And I'm just urging us to do that. And Bernard, if you're listening, which I know you are, I wish you all the best, darling. And hopefully you get through your surgeries. Great. The first surgery has gone with and it was a success, and I hope that the other 2 are a success as well. Keep us informed. Let us know about your progress, okay? And that being said, hopefully we all had a good week. I had not so good a week because we had the storm Uri hit us, because I reside in Texas, and the storm Uri hit us. It kept us out of power, kept us out of Wi-Fi, water. We couldn't go to work. We were stuck in the house. It was freezing, flooded apartments and everything, but the storm has subsided, the ice has melted, but, the damage continues, both physical and emotional. So I know we'll be doing a lot of rebuilding, and let me know what your experience was if you're in Texas or you were hit by a storm or a cold front like we were. Let me know how you guys went through that. Now, that being said, let me get to Kenya. We are going to stop in Kenya to look at the amazing legacy of Wangari Maathai. So Kenya is in East Africa, and the capital is Nairobi, with an estimated population of 52 million people. The main language is Swahili, but the official languages are both Swahili and English. Kenya is known for its wildlife, like the lions, elephants, and rhinos, and the safaris. So you can always look at the Maasai Reserve, known for its annual wildebeest migrations. Kenya is surrounded by Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and Somalia. I thought I should give an overview of Kenya, and then now let's look at some facts about the legacy of Wangari. Wangari is a Kenyan social, environmental, and political activist. She is the founder of the Green Belt movement, and she won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2004, making her the first African woman to do so, guys. And she also is the first woman to obtain a doctorate degree in East and Central Africa. In 2005, Maathai was elected as the first president of the African Union's Economic, Social, and Cultural Council. I was pretty excited to share this with you guys because I just learned about her 2 weeks ago, and I've already fallen in love with her work and the work that she did for Africa as a whole. So if you want to go check that out, I'm going to include all the links that I got the information from on the show notes. So like I said, let me just get into why I chose that topic, into the actual gist for today's topic, right? So I'm going to use this disclaimer before I start. I'm going to just issue this disclaimer. When I use the word as domestic or local, I'm just referring to our own Cameroon talent, because I'm from Cameroon, our talent, our products and whatever. I'm not saying that they are bad. I'm not saying that they are less educated, less exposed or progressive. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just referring to them being us, our own, versus talking about someone from a different country. Okay? Now you'll be wondering, why am I setting up this disclaimer? Because I'm going to talk about the issue of CY International and Naira Marley. Because there is this petition going on in Cameroon about us putting a ban to Nigerian artists, because Cameroonians are supporting Nigerian artists more than they're supporting their own local or domestic talents or artists. And this guy, CY International, has multiple videos and audios, just spewing his disappointment in us not supporting our local talent, in Nigeria coming in and infiltrating, and our government bringing in Nigerian artists to perform in the Unity Palace. Unity Palace is presidential palace, we would say. And he just goes on, and it's just like he's happy for the band. He's happy because Naira Marley was to perform a series of concerts in Cameroon, and in the middle of him performing, or when he came out there, the authorities came out there and told him, well, he's been banned. He can't perform, right? Because that's just it. And CY was happy about it. I saw a lot of posts of our own domestic acts and talents happy about that outcome. They're like, good, because we need to support our own, but we are supporting somebody else. And both, they have, there was a valid reason. I believe that we do not support our own. I believe that. And I'll just tell you why in a minute, or why I arrived at that conclusion. And at the same time, I feel like it should have been handled better. It could have been handled better. You didn't have to leave him to do everything, and then in the middle of him performing, or when he's about to perform, you tell him he can't. You understand? Because before he came to that country, I'm sure, unless he did not, he went through proper channels to be able to set up his concerts. You should have told him that, hey, it's banned. We are not allowing concerts in our country anymore. Whatever policy or, you've put in place at the time. But you let him go ahead and do it. And then you embarrass that person, and subsequently that person may not want to do work, or may go and spread that kind of message to his other artist families back in Nigeria or wherever, and those people would not want to work with you. Everything you do has repercussions. You understand? And that's just what I think, or that's my opinion. So, one, I'm going to say this. There are a couple of things. I'm going to start with this. This is a mindset of many Africans and countries, not only Cameroon. Nigerians themselves complain about it. Oh, they don't support or they don't consume things made in Nigeria, but they'll consume things made out of Nigeria. It's such just an African mindset and conditioning that I don't know how we're ever going to break it. We're going to start from somewhere. It's not just the entertainment industry. That's not the case. Because we produce sugar, we will export the sugar at ridiculously low rates, and then import the finished product at a high rate, and we think it's better. So if we have any local factory or manufacturer producing sugar, we would prefer to eat sugar that says made in China, made in UK, because we think it's better quality than sugar made in Cameroon, or made in Nigeria, or made in Ghana, made in Kenya, made in Tanzania. You understand? We place a lot of quality and we place a lot of importance and to goods that are not ours. This is not only entertainment. It happens in the creative industry. It happens in the food industry. You understand what I'm saying? Like clothing industry, it happens everywhere. We would just prefer something that doesn't have our country attached to it, or Africa put on it, which is a mindset and conditioning that has happened over generation that we need to take years to make our kids to stop thinking that way. That's what I believe. Now, let us look at examples. Let's take, like I said, I already used an example of sugar, but let's take clothing. We would buy designers that are made by foreign designers, and not put on what is made by our local or domestic designers. You understand? Well, I think a Gucci bag is way better than the bag that an upcoming designer that has talent and is doing something nice is going to do, because we want something that is more popular out there. It's just how we think. You understand? If something comes and they say made in Bafoussam, Cameroon, made in Southwest Cameroon, we wouldn't buy it. But if something says made in Italy, say, oh, I want Italian shoes. You understand? I think the Italian shoes are better than the Cameroon. We do not promote ours. It happens everywhere. This is an issue that has been there. These are problems that have been existing. And it's just not in the entertainment industry. You understand? So are you going to tell me if you're telling me we should boycott goods from every other place, okay, then go ahead and say that. But at the same time, you understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can't limit someone to liking a particular thing only. You understand? So, okay, now you're going to ask me, Edna, what are you saying? Because, you're confusing me. What I'm saying is, do you know you can now leave direct voice messages to the show, and it might just end up in future episodes? It is one of the quickest ways to get in touch with me and leave your contributions to the show. Just follow the voice message link on the show notes, and hope to hear from you soon. No country can grow without international relations, but not to the detriment of our own local and national development. You understand what I'm saying? I can support Nigeria, or I can consume something from Nigeria, but not at the detriment where anything that is coming out of my own country that has the same talent as that can't survive. You know, so it's like raising somebody else's kids and then you can't raise yours. That's kind of like what it is. That makes no sense. You understand? You can't say I'm a good parent because I'm parenting someone else's child and I'm not parenting mine. That, if you look at it from that perspective, I think we would tend to support ours. Let's look at the movie industry. When Nollywood started, right, Ghana tried to do the same thing. But what did they do? They collaborated with Nigeria. They did a lot of collaborative work with Nigeria so as to put themselves on the map, because Nigeria tapped into something that was working at the time. You see? And it worked. That is what we should be doing. Just like when Cameroon music, Makossa, was booming, they weren't banning it in places. I have Kenyan friends who are talking about and singing Cameroon Makossa way back then. They played and I'm like, what? You guys know this? And they do. You understand? And at that time, Nigeria didn't ban it. They were consuming it as well, right? When Coupe de Calais came from Central Africa, we were consuming it. You understand? It was that everything. What I'm saying is things come up to re-inspire people. And you see Nigerians, they will do collaborative work with Central Africans. You understand? With Tanzania or Diamond or whoever. Diamond Platinum was like, oh, I featured Davido in my stuff and in my work, and it took a lot out of me financially, but it was worth it. It put him on the map in a different scale. That is what you should be thinking of doing. If somebody has tapped into something that is working, that's why I love the creative industry or artists out here. You can use someone's work to inspire what you're doing, to reinvent what you're doing. If you're doing something and it's not working, and a time or a season has come for something else, you use that. Do a lot of collaborative work and stuff like that. Why didn't you tell Naira Marley when he was coming, like, hey, if you're coming to do a concert in Cameroon, you must feature 3 local acts or domestic acts, right? You might give him suggestions. These are the acts we have. You look at their work and choose the person that you think works best with you, or whatever theme you are out for. Use that person. There's so many of them. Magasco is there, Daphne is there, Stanley, and there's so many of them. Why don't you tell them, like, hey, do work with these people, right? And then we can allow you perform. You understand what I'm saying? Encourage collaboration rather than saying that I ban you from performing here. Because if some time comes and it's your season, you would go to Nigeria for concerts. Nigerians, you'll be expecting them to buy your CDs or download your work because they have number. Even regardless of the number, you would want to promote your work in different countries as artists to succeed. Even Hollywood is doing it. Bollywood is doing it. Bollywood, now you go on Netflix, they're collaborating with Nigerians. You have to collaborate because you are looking for a market. So you don't ban someone in your country and then you want to succeed locally in your country. And then when you succeed locally, you want to succeed internationally, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Now that doesn't make any sense. Because you weren't supporting somebody else, or you bashed them when it was their time to be at the top. But you're forgetting you were once at the top. Nigerian entertainment industry is booming because their government supported them. I know, especially when Goodluck Jonathan, I know they would chew me, but when he was president, he did a lot to put a lot of government backing onto the entertainment industry, and it helped and it boomed them to where they are. You should hold your government accountable. You should put in policies that protect your local acts, that protect your domestic interests. Before you perform in Cameroon, you need to do this or that or that. You need to put those policies. So hold your government accountable, not blaming those people who are simply trying to put their hustle out there. That doesn't make sense. Promote your local acts. Use people to promote what you're doing. That brings me to another thing. It's just like when you look at Africans in the diaspora, we got Netflix, Hulu and stuff. If you have African services that bring African documentaries to you, African movies to you, you understand what I'm saying? Bring African updates and stuff, but they don't even know they exist. Oh, I'm not going to watch that Nigerian movie. I'm going to watch, Vin Diesel. Nobody is saying you can't consume something from somewhere else. But when you are bashing your stuff, putting it low, how do you think people can look at you as equal or take your talent serious? You want the Westerners or the white man to respect your work, but you yourself do not promote your work. You don't respect it. You are interested in changing yourself and being accepted by somebody else's culture. What about your culture? Have you watched movies from Hollywood way back in the day? It was the same cut and paste. I'm sorry to use that word, but that's a phrase to mean like they were also learning, they were struggling, they had errors, and they consumed it, they marketed it, they made sure you watched it. And you can do the same for your own acts and talent, and you understand, and you're fighting amongst yourselves. We can't grow out of that situation or out of this situation with these ridiculous mindsets. Africans, please. Put your culture out there, respect it, support it. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch Netflix. Supporting Iroko TV doesn't mean that you are not supporting Netflix. You understand what I'm saying? Even the podcast, like the podcast we're doing, we have AfriCloud, that is all for African content. Most of us don't even know it. You understand? Because you're just interested in listening to iRadio or Spotify or whatever. We do that. We do not promote ours. Like, we don't even do the research to know if it's available out there. So we need to start doing that and quit hating on somebody else's work as a reason for yours not working. You use that work to reinvent or inspire yourself. And people can like two things at the same time. Naira Marley is doing weed. Is it now that they're doing weed in Cameroon? They've been doing weed in there for years. You understand? He's not the one to come and introduce weed in there. Or they bring Kolela Petit, we've banned it. But you guys are consuming things with way foul language from rappers from the US. And that is not a problem. You guys don't ban that, but you're banning your local acts. So quit all this hate. When you're spewing hate, sounding angry, saying they should boycott somebody's work, it just sounds, it's like jealousy and all of these things. Even if you're making sense in there, you are not attracting anybody to your work. People just put you under this canopy of being jealous and you just don't want someone else to grow because Cameroon, you had your moment. So what are you saying then? So just think about this. Let me know what you think and let's just go from there. Okay. But let me know what you think, guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening and hope you join me for the next episode. You can always reach us via email at africanteapot@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at African_teapot.